Can you explain, where this idea came from of actually growing coral?
In the community, you have some people researching in the lab to understand better their physiology, to know what's really impacting them. And you have also some conservationists on the field that are just trying new innovative methods to make them grow, to just fill again the dead rubble field with corals, to just make it healthy again. So that's just really, there is multiple innovative techniques, and the one we are using here is called mineral accretion technology, and it's one of them, and it's working, and that's why now we investigate it more and more on the species, on the type of electricity used, but that's all come from an idea of helping the corals and trying to find really any possible way to make it happen, really. So we are using electricity, so a very low voltage, so you will not even feel it if you touch it and the fishes are not feeling it. But we use anodes and a cathode, which are tables, to create an electric field. And in this electric field, you will have more minerals. And this is very interesting for the corals, that's why they miss. So basically you are providing more food to the corals so they can grow better.
So can you explain, what actually happens underwater when you get a fresh piece of coral and you take it to the frames?
Okay, so basically we took 40 metal frames that are shaped like tables, and we put them in a big circle in a degraded area. Then we attached many fragments to the tables with a wire, so around 7 centimeters, and you just attach them. We attach 16 fragments per table, 4 of 4 different species. So we have 4 different species on each table. And we just do it for the 40 tables, and so that comes to 640 fragments. And then we also monitor some fragments that are directly onto the reef.
As you're doing this research, what's your sort of daily routine with this program?
So with this program, one thing which is quite interesting is that we are investigating as well how it works. So we are trying to optimize this technology. Yeah. So this gives electricity to the tables, but we are investigating if it's better to put 24 hours of electricity or just 12 hours during the day, 12 hours during the night, or none at all. So it's a kind of research study as well. And what we want to achieve is have a better knowledge of the species here, try to make them grow back, and just with the frames create a new reef in an area that was totally devastated.
So how long have you spent on this island then?
So 1 year. So the study is going to achieve in a few weeks. And so I've been here 1 year, since last April, to conduct this experiment. So now we are going to achieve this kind of research program, but we are going to develop many others, I'm sure. But yeah, this project in itself, with the different night, day, 24-hour electricity, is going to arrive to its end. Yeah. It was this 1 year experiment.
So one of these sort of combinations you think will provide, a really good answer to get these corals to regrow?
So we are exploring. So we have, of course, some ideas, but it's really important to know that in corals, they are so diverse that all the species can respond differently, that depending on their physiology, some can respond better to day and some better to night and some maybe better to 24 hours.
Yeah. And how do you measure the corals? You've got
so we are using different tools, but one of the good ones is this ruler. Yeah. And you just have an angle just to make sure you are measuring it right. Yeah. And then for this project, we are also taking photographs. And then also with a reference ruler, that can be one of those, we are taking top-down photograph and side photograph to try to see if we can use if we have the same measurements, if it's consistent.
So how often you're actually diving on this research area?
So I would say, depending on the weather condition, if the sea is rough or not, we can spend 60 minutes to 80 minutes. So this is going to really change the time we spend. But basically, every month, we do a data collection. So it means between 1 to 2 weeks, we are going to go diving 1 to 2 times a day to collect the data, to know the health, to take some video transect for the fish biodiversity. to measure, to clean the tables, because we're also investigating if the cleaning is helping the corals, cleaning the table or not. And to check all the equipment, because it's cables. We also have a smart buoy that is recording the temperature that we need to maintain, make sure it's fine, because it's solar panels. So yeah, it's 1 to 2 weeks of being on the field. It's a lot of time planning the dive, getting to know what we are going to do, then be there, or sometimes coaching new volunteers, or sometimes they already know what to do. The photograph, we have to measure them all, because we measure with this tool. So we have 640 fragments, so it means 1,280 photos, and it means sometimes replicates, and it means measuring all of them.
So this is all done, all this photography is done underwater, and
then
you're moving
all
around, you know, the sea is a little bit turbulent at times.
Yeah, it can be very, very turbulent, yes, so it's also a challenge, because we are moving all around the table, so we need to make sure we are not breaking anything, because sometimes the condition can be rough. And Fregate is not the more calm sea for this kind of restoration, which is a good advantage, because the algae is not developing. There is a lot of current. They are very healthy, but sometimes, yes, when you have to go down and it's rough, or when there is a lot of waves, it can be challenging, but everyone here is very qualified to do that, so it's never a problem. It's just more challenging, but we always manage to do it. After 1 year, the tables we have used are overgrown. I mean, they have enough corals, they are big enough, so we think it's fine, but we want to put new frames, because there is a lot of places that are degraded. So at the Fregate scale, we are going to continue.
What about tourists and holidaymakers? What should they be aware of when in and around coral?
Corals are like trees, so there is plenty different, but they are really a habitat for all the animals. If you have a field with no trees, no animal is going to be in there. But if you bring all the trees, you have all the animals coming. It's the same for the marine biodiversity, really. When you have no corals, there are no fishes. And even if you don't really understand what it is, just think of a forest. It's like really a habitat where they can lay eggs, they can hide, they can feed. It's very important. And so if you go snorkeling somewhere, make sure not to break them, because like trees, they take a long time to grow, way more time, and it's animals that are developing and fragmenting, and it's very precious. So I would be very careful when you anchor. I know it's so easy to just drop it and to have a nice swim. Just try to find a patch of sand. Really, it can help. Just be a bit more cautious about the important it is, not just for the coral itself, but for all the animals that are related to this coral.